So, going along with the scenario this week, being in the position that we're in, earning $15 an hour and being a non union worker, the question was, should you support a collective bargaining effort at your hotel? So, in my opinion, yes, I would support that because I've worked there for several years, according to the scenario, and I'm not guaranteed a pay raise, but if I need to buy necessities and all of these other things, it's really important that I get a pay raise. So I do support it, but I say this only if the dues that you have to pay amount to still making more money. Because if I'm making more money after doing collective bargaining and getting a new agreement, I'll still have to pay dues and fees for the union. So it might equal out that I'll be even in a worse place. So again, I do support it, but only if the dues and the fees still leave me room to be making more money. So something that I read online from the Chicago Federation of Labor said workers who belong to unions earn 30% more than non-union workers. They are 62% more likely to have employer-provided health coverage and 4 times more likely to have pensions. So this is something very important when I say that I would support the collective bargaining and the union. It's important to know that fact because, like I said, if I'm making enough money for the necessities and also with the dues and fees, then I think that it's very beneficial for me as a worker. And thinking about any risks with collective bargaining, when you think about it, everybody is replaceable. So if you're going to stand up and make a big deal and people are going to hear what you're going to say and all of this, you have to remember that maybe the hotel will get angry and they don't want you to do that. Just like what we read in The Big Squeeze about the security worker who was told to put in the secret cameras so he could listen to the Walmart workers and see who was coming to complain. And then the Walmart workers would look for a reason to fire these people if that's what they were trying to do. So that is a risk when you're trying to do something like this because you want to make sure that you don't get to the point where people want to take away your job because you're speaking up. But the union also will protect you from being fired for a reason like that. So that's another very positive thing about being part of a union. So complaints will be done appropriately through collective bargaining, and you'll have a union organizer or representative, and they'll help you work through what your arguments are and if they can come to a new agreement, something for you. And that would be good too. So there is power in numbers, which is something very important that I'm understanding this week, because if you're together with a group of people, like the union, for example, here in this scenario, then you have more power in what you're saying, in your complaints. You have more of a chance of being able to speak up and get something that you're looking for. Let's say higher wages and better health benefits and all of this stuff. If you're working with a group of people, there's huge power in those numbers. So that's a very beneficial fact when thinking about the collective bargaining and being part of the union. So that is also important. So thinking of negotiations and the benefits of that as well in a group. So the same thing with power in numbers and how that's really important. So the requirements that go with being part of a union, of course, is having to pay the dues and fees. So hopefully you'll be making, or I will, let's say I'm in this scenario, hopefully I will be making more, my higher wages, raises, all of that stuff, and you're guaranteed more of that if you are part of the union and can go through a process to get something beneficial that you're looking for. So that's my opinion this week for being in that scenario. And again, I do support the collective bargaining and being a part of a union, because I think that for me in this situation, it would be extremely beneficial because I can get a lot more that I'm looking for in the job. And I've worked there for several years according to the scenario, so this is something very important. This is a big step. I just have to make sure that I don't lose my job or that I don't end up making less money because of the fees that I'm paying. So that's my opinion this week. Thanks.